Hey guys, hope you can hear my voice. So I'm the second Nikhil, I think, for today. Um, so I work at Cloudera as a front-end developer. My talk today is on intelligent lazy loading. Um so first of all, before I start my talk, I want to preface it by saying um, I would think of it optimization as a root of all evils. So premature optimization basically. So even when your app is working fine and you're building a bunch of functionalities, if it works fine, don't start your optimization before you face any issues with your app, because it would make your so adding more more code just for optimization before even you face an issue would be not ideal. So definitely the example that I'm going to show doesn't need this optimization. This is just an example that I'm showing for now, but only if you face any optimization or any optimization issues, then only optimize that. So with that out of the way, first thing is whenever we import a component, uh, this is the usual import that you do. If it's a default import, you import and then use it like this, um, like it here. So what this happens is Webpack is what we use for bundling our source code. So once you do that, Webpack bundles everything into a single bundle, which would look something like this. If I refresh here, uh, you will load your HTML and you will have the bundle.js. So this chart is coming from Rechart's library. So if I open this is coming from Rechart's library. If you can see, all the code for it is bundled in the same bundle.js file. We only have only one bundle. This is coming from DevTools, which I have as an extension, and this is global.js. So we want all our source code, all our components are bundled together in a single JavaScript file. Now this, if you see, the load time here is pretty small, 19 milliseconds, and it's only 302 bytes. Even if you are using, let's say, slow 3G, should also be pretty fast. I would say just 2 seconds, still okay. So but if it's a large app and you are loading everything in a single everything bundled together in a single file, the load time might take a bit long. So for that, to address it, what we usually use is a naive lazy loading, which is using this dynamic import, lazy import. It's coming from React, and then I have this component, and then have it here. So what it happens is I'm conditionally rendering this. Only if I click this button, I'm loading this chart. Until then, we are not loading this component. So that's what lazy loading does. It will bundle this chart component separately from the main bundle. So if I save this and reload this page, we have bundle.js. Okay, I should have gone to fast 3G. It's very slow. Okay, so we have bundle.js, and if you search for recharts, you will have only see uh, one recharts, which is basically saying we have this library uh, in our package JSON. So it's not loading all the code for it. And only if you click this button, and once you click this boolean flag is turned to true, and then we are loading this chart component. We will load this additional bundle files, vendor node modules, and the actual chart component in my code. So while loading this, we are seeing a loading indicator. Maybe we can refresh and see. So this takes a little while to download because it's a separate bundle, and until the bundle gets downloaded, we will see this loading indicator. And it's even more slow when you are using slow 3G. So this is fine, but what it takes us back to is the so basically why we are going for a single page application is it should look like an app. native application. So you shouldn't have loading. Whenever you do a page transition, we shouldn't see a loading screen. It should be instant. That's the whole idea of single page application. That's why to improve the user experience. But having loading indicators all over your application is not ideal. So for that, what you can do is one extreme thing. We can prefetch it. So what this does is, this is adding the magic commands for Webpack. What it does is, this adds prefetch attribute to your link tags for your JavaScript files. And I can show you here. Let's take this, no problem. And if you see in the head, we will have this prefetch attribute added to the link tags. So what it does is, if you see the priority list here, of course, our HTML file is the highest priority, then the images, then our JavaScript files, the actual bundle files. And then if you see this chart and vendor, this is prefetched. If you see, the icon is a bit different, but also it has the lowest priority. So only the high priority items, like the actual bundle, the HTML, the images, are fetched first. And once everything is fetched, once the browser is idle, it would fetch the lowest priority items, like our chart library and then our code for your component. So now when you click here, let's go to slow 3G. Now when you click here, it's really instant. Just you're seeing the loading indicator like for a millisecond. And also if you see the fetch here, this is the fetch. It's saying prefetch catch. So we are not fetching the new new code. We are just fetching it from the cache that has already been prefetched initially. So this is good. This you can have it if you are pretty sure this would the action the user will take no matter what. This is the more common action that the user would take. You can have it, but this is also not ideal because we are loading the JavaScript too often. If you're cautious about your users' data, mobile data, or the internet, so we have to be more cautious on prefetching everything. That's also not ideal. That's what intelligent lazy loading comes in. So what we have is I'm just exporting this function here. We already had this lazy loading. I'm having it as a separate function like this. And then, as usual, we are also falling back to lazy loading. But one less step we are doing is based on the user action. If the user hovers over your button, or if you have a route link, if the user hovers your header navigation or your sidebar or the actual navigation item itself, then you can add an event handler there and then add the function to fetch the dynamic import. So once you have this, now on the initial load, let's go back to no problem. Now on the initial load, you won't be seeing it, not even free fetch. It won't be free fetch. But as soon as as soon as you hover, now you see the bundle files being fetched. Now if you click, then obviously it would be already being fetched. Then the loading indicator would be very minimally visible. And this also works for you have to think about the users using just the keyboard. So you have to add for on focus as well for accessibility. So let me refresh this. Now if I focus with my keyboard, then also it's being fetched, and once you click or enter, it loads. So this is the predictive lazy loading or intelligent lazy loading that you can determine based on your user actions. Based on if you have Google Analytics added to your page, you can think about the user actions, what the user most often takes. If it's an initial load itself, we are having the most user, let's say a button to change the theme. That's not ideal, right? Most people won't be doing that. Most users would be sticking to the dark theme or light theme, whatever you have by default. So those buttons, those code can be predictively lazy loaded. But most common things can be prefetched, or it can be part of the initial load itself. That's fine. So you have to be more predictive on about the users, and see what the user actions that they take, and then based on that you can intelligently write your code. So this is all I had, and this is my so I uploaded this report to the GitHub, so you can scan this and see the report. And